tables, rules, and graphs. So we're going to start talking now today about how we're going to go ahead and plot this stuff on a graph. So if you see here, the information on a table can be represented in graph form, and sometimes it's helpful. Evaluating functions is just plugging in a number into an equation and seeing what value comes out. So for example, this would be evaluating the function y is equal to 4x minus 1. And we've already done this a bit, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, the x-axis, that's always the horizontal one. So these are going to be the measures of our x. The y-axis is always going to be the vertical one. So this is always going to be y. And again, if you want to make sure, x and y. And now if we wanted to plot this, that would be hard because we don't have a negative 1 here. So we're going to plot this instead. And if we have an input of 0 and 0, so let's just call this 0 and 0, and then we've got to label this. So let's say that this is going to be, just because if we look at the input and output values, well, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you get the idea, but that would seem kind of silly because then we end up with just a bunch of extra numbers. So let's do it the other way, which is to just label it every 2. So 2, 4. And sometimes that happens where you have to reassess whether or not it's the smartest thing to do and then redo it because there may not be room. And at that point, we definitely have enough values because we looked at the range and it goes up to the 7. And we can make these even bigger if we wanted to. So if we look here, now if we had the output values, we need to go up to 3.5. So for the output, well, this could be, let's start off, we know that we need to have some divisions here that are smaller than the ones here. So let's say that this is going to be 1. Then 2 more up is going to be 2. 2 more up is going to be 3. 2 more up from that is going to be 4. Then we got 5 and 6, and so on. So now we can plot all these points. So 0, 0. I'm going to change my color here. 0, 0 is going to be right there. Now if x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 0.5, so x is equal to 1, that's going to be right there. Y is equal to 0.5, so that's going to be right there. And x is equal to 2, y is equal to 1, so x is equal to 2, y is equal to 1. When x is equal to 3, y is equal to 1.5, and I bet you can figure this out, this pattern-wise. What's going to happen? 4, it's going to be here, right? 5, it's going to be here. 6, it's going to be here. And this is a linear graph, and 7 is finally going to be up there, which is 3.5. This linear graph, it represents just this x divided by 2 is equal to y. And we always write it out, y is equal to whatever x is, not x is equal to what y is, because that's just the conventional way of doing it. So we always have the x stuff on one side, the y by itself. That's the goal when you do an equation. So if it says here, graph each function using these input values, and if I want to come up with a function, what it could be is something like, oh, I don't know, y is equal to 2x plus 1. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug these into an equation, or put these into a table. Make sure I know what the numbers are going to be. And I can do these in my head, but if you need to, you can go ahead and write this out the way that I taught you before, which is to go ahead and write it out. It would be 2x plus 1 over here. So I'm looking for y. I have x for 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally 5. And now I'm looking for the value for what y is going to be. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 1 for the x value, and that's going to be 2 plus 1, or 2 times 1 plus 1 So that's going to give me a total of, well, 2 times 1 is 3, whereas 2 plus 1 is 3. So 1, 3 is going to be my first point on there. Now I do 2 times 2 plus 1. That's going to be 4, that part of it there, and then so this is going to be 5. And you can see the pattern here. Remember, we've already talked about this a bit, so each time it goes up by 2. So when I see something like that, I can do the double check just to make sure. So this is 3. But when you get good at this stuff, you will just be able to figure out that this next one is going to be 9. This one after that is going to be 11. And now I need to, I'm just going to erase this part over here for a second just to make sure I have enough room here. Since I've got the points now. So now remember, X is here, Y is here. And this time let's just do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for both of them. So this would be 2 here, this would be 4, this would be 6, this would be 8, 10, 12, this would be 14. Now up here would be, if we do the same, it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, finally 14. So now I just plug in these points. Well, when X is equal to 1, that would be there. What's Y equal to? And I go up 1, 2, 3. There we go. When X is equal to 2, what's Y going to be equal to? It's going to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When X is equal to 3, Y is going to be equal to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. X is equal to 4. Y is equal to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so on. You can probably figure out that the next one's for 5. It's going to be right up here. Just a nice, neat line. And if you look there, that's actually the number here. We're not going to deal with it right now, but the number here is the slope. And that's going to be 1 over 2 up every single time. 1 over 2 up, because that's the rise over run, but we'll get to that soon enough. So that's how you graph this stuff. You figure out the function, you figure it out, and then you go ahead and do it that way. Now, if you were asked to write and evaluate a function, what you're asked to be doing is to relate the two things together. So if you have a total salary of S, and that's equal to your salary, which is $9 per hour. And what do I need to know? I mean, you don't just make $9 total no matter what. It's going to be times the amount of hours you actually have. So in this case here, if I plug that in, that's going to be your total salary for 10 hours. It's going to be $90, which is pretty good. Or at least it's pretty good for a first job. So hopefully you guys will be earning lots more than that. So